out afterwards because the stream function is not playing nice. And oh, it's streaming. Yay! Welcome everyone to Collaboration Conversations. I'm your host, Regina Partain Bergman, CEO of Bridgeport Strategy and co-founder of the CEO Holy Grail. I am thrilled today to have a guest co-host that you're going to love. You'll know immediately that he's not from Texas. You'll have to listen to the accent and figure it out, but he's not from Texas. And so I want to introduce Steve Brossman, who is my guest co-host today. Steve, welcome first. Welcome to the show.
Can I give it away straight away by saying, "G'day, everyone."
Good day. There you go. Now you all know where he's from. That's shorthand, right?
We shorten everything down under.
It's a little bit like somebody from Texas saying y'all or all y'all.
Yeah.
So Steve is the CEO of Podcast Guest Profits, and I'm sure we're going to learn a little bit about that here in a moment. But Steve, would you share with us a bit about your journey, who you serve, and why that's important to you?
Yeah, look, the interesting thing is I got into business by accident. I was training for the Los Angeles Olympics and crushed 3 discs in my back, and you don't run real quick with a bad back. So while going through rehab, I fell in love with the fitness industry, you know, the 1983s and the leg warmers and the lycras and everything like that. But I looked at what was going on. I thought I could do it different. I think I could do it better. I was a pretty cocky young kid. So I did. But what I did was something that has stood me right through everything that I've been doing for the last 40 odd years in business. And that is work with the markets that other people aren't, serve them better, and do it with great service. So during that time, I set up kids programs, seniors program, decondition programs, weight loss programs, and I sold a whole heap of stuff, franchises around the world of what I did. But then I went into coaching and I sucked at it. Oh no, I was great at coaching. I sucked at selling myself. That was the issue. It's like most good people out there that are passionate about what they do, they love what they do. But when it was the time to, here's the part of the conversation, I've got to ask for some money. Oh, hell, what do I do? And I had to find a better way. And through years of study, almost going broke, but then finding a way to do it, I've developed a great way of helping people sell themselves without selling their soul. But when it came to podcasting, COVID hit, and we got a couple of other guys here from down under, and we know that we were the most lockdown lockdown country on the planet. So I decided by the Zoom chair to move my business to America. I had one networking event to go to, and I was invited onto a podcast, and then another, and then another. Making a lot of mistakes, but I made a way of being able to monetize it. And I went from 0 to 6 figures in just 10 months being a podcast guest. And nice. I thought that's what everybody else did. So I thought, yeah, great. Everybody else is getting on podcasts and making money and growing their business, until I found out they didn't. And I thought, well, again, what do? I put something together and I help people. And that's where I'm helping people right now. How do they actually get out there on the right podcast and actually monetize it in a way that they don't feel pushy or sleazy and get on podcasts and try and sell? There's a better way to do it. And podcasts and podcasting is a real growing medium, particularly now with AI taking over and taking the human out of marketing. Yeah. What we're doing now, human to human, is going to be the growing face of those who want to survive.
I love that. I love that. Thank you. I'm sure we're going to learn a lot today. Steve, you have brought with you a panel of 4 gentlemen that I can't wait to learn more about. I know very little about each, but I do know a little bit. But would you please introduce each of your guests and have them share a bit about their journey, who they serve, and why that's important to them?
Yeah, I'm going to flip between locals and imports.
Okay. I don't think I've ever been called that.
If I do cough a little. I'm going to start with Thomas Chappell. He's been a great buddy of mine, a good friend, and he's the host of Evangelism Radio Network, but he's got a great background in corporate work that he's now turning into his business, helping people work with people and really get in there and build their business by working with a specific type. I'm not going to steal Tom's thunder because it's a great story, and the journey that he's going on now to help more people because of the way that it's structured is going to help a lot of businesses. So Thomas, give us your background and where you're heading mainly.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, Steve is right. I run Evangelism Radio, and it's been a true blessing and a part of my ministry aspect. But what really kind of brought me with Steve was I have a company where I created a breakthrough competitive edge, and I really didn't know how to kind of position it. And so for that, I had the clients, but I kind of ran into the situation that Steve did. I didn't know how to sell myself. So I can say that I did learn that. I did learn some of that, and still learning some of that from Steve. But I would say that I mainly hang around and work with federal vendors that are looking for federal work, and I help them fill their pipeline and put themselves in a winning position for contracts.
Excellent. Definite need for that.
Yeah, so what Thomas got's fairly unique because there's people out there with money. It's the federal government. And at times they don't mind spending a lot of it. And what he's doing is working with businesses to find their unique edge, to communicate it to the government for them to say, well, yes, I need to spend it, so therefore I need to spend it with you. So he's creating a real competitive edge for a lot of the people that he's working with.
That's excellent.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to go to a local now, and I'm going to pat him on the back and let people know that he was at an awards ceremony last night, and he got up at probably 4:45 a.m. to be here. Alex has got a great background, and I first met Alex when he was spending most of his life in finance and helping people with loans, mortgages, etc. But he's now working a lot with people because we love to travel, and he's working with a group that has got a real, again, competitive edge that he's getting his message out there to help more people like us to save money and travel more. So Alex, it's over to you, buddy.
Thanks, Steve. And good morning, everybody from Australia. But my journey is about 25 years as a business broker for both mortgages and asset finance, and very, very competitive market, all up to prior to COVID and continuing today. And obviously, moving into a space of connecting with people, working with Steve, and realizing that, you might be targeting a certain industry, but you also, along that way, you find your passion, things that you do, while going out to see people. Traveling was one of the things that I really loved. I wasn't fortunate enough to do a lot of traveling in my early years. And once you get yourself on that plane, it's a feeling you can't get rid of, going back and forth everywhere. That's my passion, to expand in that. But along that way, and with Steve's guidance, it's amazing when you start, connecting with networking groups. And I know I've gone into many, many networking groups, and a lot of people roll their eyes when they hear, oh, we've been to those and they don't work. But they actually do, because, there's formality parts of that. But at the same time, when you start meeting people one-on-one, and I've come back to the BNI group, which is a global group, but meeting people and talking about my story with Steve, and helping people connect through a travel community, which is a private community. So, when people support a private community and the benefits come back to the community, which attracts travel providers, it means as a group, everyone that gets excited about travel can really enjoy the experience and the benefits that we have as a community group. So meeting people and actually sharing my story, everyone's story is important. So, talking about, it's amazing when you say, oh, this is what I do, and your story of where you come from, and things that I'm actually looking for, not only in travel, but connecting with business owners. It's incredible when people meet you and go, listen, you might want to have a chat with such and such. And Steve's always been doing that. I know a guy, I know somebody, that you need to meet. So, it's always about giving. If you can give your story and obviously learn to collaborate, it's amazing what comes out and the opportunities that come out.
I'm going to take his story just that one step further, because working with Alex and really understanding what he's doing and why his passion is out there now is the journey in the history of travel has been quite exceptional. And I remember when I was speaking around the world and I got really excited when the fax machine came in. Oh my goodness, I can have a reply in 3 days. It's like, holy shit. The trouble was that those came in the middle of the night because I was dealing with people overseas and they just didn't realize that there were different time zones around the world.
Right.
But anyhow, it's got to a point now that everybody feels that we're doing the right thing. We can just click on one of these websites and we're going to get the best deal and all of those sorts of things. And what Alex has brought to my mind and opened my eyes is that every time we see an ad on TV for one of these platforms, and there are lots of ads for these travel platforms, those ads have to be paid for.
Yeah.
And that payment goes on to top of our fees.
Exactly.
And he's working with an organization now that is basically invite only, membership base only. So all of the ad money and all the spend money that we think is getting us onto the cheapest deals is saved, and all of those deals come back. And I'm sure Alex is going to talk a little bit about it. But when you look at his story and then parallel it to the history of travel as it's gone through, we're all thinking, we're clicking here, whether it's Trivago or Webjet or all of those other things, thinking we're getting the best deals. Yeah. But in essence, all the ads and all the other stuff that we see around it that tell us that we're getting the best deals is untrue. And I got somebody coming, I'm going to leave him till last, that we're going to share somebody who's saving businesses millions of dollars. So I'm keeping the secret.
Wait.
I'm going to keep the secret till last. But the next guy I want to bring on is Mark. He's another one from down under, and he's often not only saving people lots of money, but saving people stress and saving their marriage. And he's one of the best that I know at helping organizations and people within organizations master difficult conversations. And all of us have been in and around different businesses, and there's always been a difficult conversation, whether it's with our child, whether it's with our partner, whether it's with an employee or a boss or something. The difficult conversations that we keep putting up, and it gives us knots in the stomach and sleepless nights. He's been in this area for quite some time and has got a great program. Without stealing your thunder, Mark, you've probably got nothing left to say, actually.
Don't worry. I can say more lovely things about me. Don't you worry about that. That won't stop me.
Before I say everything, I better hand over to Mark.
Well, thank you. That was very generous of you. Thank you for that introduction. Look, I'm going to say something which I don't normally say. I'm 71, and for that, I'm proud of the fact that I have that experience under my belt. And I remember the very first time that I took over a team of people. Like most of us, we're good at our job, and you get promoted to be a team. Well, I was very good at my job as far as I was concerned anyway. And one thing I wasn't trained to do was to actually deal with people. Don't people just do their work, and don't clients and customers behave? Well, I quickly learned that wasn't necessarily the case. So I struggled, like many people. You struggle, and you don't realize until later how much you were struggling, how much that affected your life, how that Sunday afternoon when you're supposed to be enjoying your time with family, and your wife or spouse or family says, are you with us? No, I'm thinking about what's happening, what that conversation I should have had. And I remember one time I was about 4 o'clock in an afternoon, and I was supposed to have a conversation with someone that day, and I knew I wasn't going to have it because everyone was going home. So what I don't want people to do is to go through that hassle. So that's why I invented my own system, and I do have a different take on it than a lot of we've all got these books, haven't we, on our shelves, and they just weren't cutting it. I think some of these people hadn't actually been at the coalface. They hadn't dealt with someone in a bar
Right.
It's like other people I've worked behind a bar. I don't think some people have really dealt with it. So that's what I'm in the business of doing, is helping people have those conversations, those hard
difficult
conversations. But I'll
Love
add
that.
something to this, and that is, they're not hard to have. They're hard to get right, because you often only get one go at these. You only get one go at saying to your elderly mother, I think you should go into a nursing home. You get one go at it. You better get it right. So that's my
I'm sure we're
story.
going to hear lots and lots about that. And some of the work that he's been doing recently has been phenomenal, and I can't wait to help him get more of that out there. So coming to the last and certainly not the least, Lou, welcome along, buddy. Lou has certainly opened my eyes as to what's going on, and we've termed it the Great American Healthcare Heist. Now, I was in a networking group, and they were talking about the system of the greatest transfer of wealth upwards through the healthcare system. How the healthcare system is ripping off the smaller people and transferring the wealth upwards, and it just opened my eyes. Lou has an amazing background in the healthcare system, and he's now also got a system to be able to help businesses and organizations. I won't again steal his thunder, well, maybe a little bit of it. And some of the results that he's got with people, that they just accept, okay, we've got our premium coming in, it's gone up, I need to pay it. Okay, our premiums come in, got up, next to pay it. The HR people are thinking, I'm getting all of these complaints, I've got to suck it up, it's part of my job, it's the healthcare system. My poor employees are going broke, they're losing their house because of the healthcare system. They're not getting all of this because of this. It's okay, it's the system, we can't change it. But Lou's got the whole framework to say, no, that's BS. There are some small things that you can do at the right time to make it all change, where the business owners, they're going to have so much more cash flow. The HR people are going to have happy employees, and the employees are going to get the care they need. So now I've told everybody about what you do, Lou. You better tell people and fill in the gaps, because I am definitely excited about what you're taking out to the market and how you can actually change the lives of so many people.
Thank you. Yeah, that was a great intro, Steve. I remember the day we met, because we were on a networking call, and we were all asked to share a minute or two of our frustration about our challenges in business. And I explained what I did, and he says, we have to talk offline. And he didn't understand why my door wasn't being knocked down to help businesses in the US control this incredibly out of control healthcare costs. And it's really the insurance cost that's crushing companies, but it's because the healthcare costs have been deliberately kept from people for the past 30 years here in the US. I've been doing this for 34 years, believe it or not. Before managed care, that's the current system of healthcare in the US. It's networks and contracts and confidentiality agreements, and the healthcare systems, meaning the hospital systems and doctors and providers, have been in a perpetual battle with the insurance companies over premiums and profits for so long, but they're on the same team now, and they're working against the employers. And one of the good things, if you're following it at all, the Affordable Care Act, also known as AKA Obamacare, started a trend of releasing data that had been kept from the consumers, and it's escalated, luckily. So people like myself who've been in it realize that the discounts we thought we were getting, the value we were getting out of our insurance companies, was actually completely artificial, and that they're driving the prices up on medications and healthcare at as much as 5,000% markups. Because the consumer hasn't been able to act like a consumer. I mean, what you need prices, and you need quality to make smart choices, and that's what we're trying to unleash on the consumer. The bigger problem is how the plan sponsors, the employers, have been groomed to think there's nothing we can do about this. It's going to go up every year, and they've stopped trying, and their approach to it is all wrong. And we're just really trying to help them shed some light on the problem so they understand who their true partners are, how to find better partners, and control those costs.
Sensational. Regina, before we get on to
Yes.
giving you a word, the common theme, and this is collaboration conversations, the common
Right.
theme through here is how I met these awesome guys. It was either through podcasting and networking. That's the only two ways I work. And I don't run ads. I don't do anything like this. It's just through the collaborations and networking and different feelers that way. And that way you get to meet some fantastic people and get to work with some fantastic people. So I know that's the theme of your conversation. So I thought I'd throw that back to you that say, hey,
I
listen,
love that.
that's how all of these boys are here.
So let's talk about that. For folks who haven't been down this road, haven't maybe, been to a BNI. I mean, I lived in the sticks for quite some time. I'm assuming everybody knows what that means, but I lived in rural areas and there was no local BNI. I'd heard of it. I knew some about it, but there wasn't anything like that in my neighborhood. And it wasn't until I moved away from there that even became a possibility at all. So how do folks who maybe don't have that kind of access, although now most everything is online, right? Even BNI is online and all of that. So, but back then it wasn't, before, pre-COVID, pre, it wasn't a possibility. We didn't have Zoom. We weren't able to connect around the globe, which from my perspective is one of, there was a lot of bad things that happened in the pandemic. But some of the good things that came out of that were our ability to connect with people around the globe. And I'm so grateful for that aspect. But how do people get started if they've not ever really been to networking? What does that look like? How do they get going? What should they be prepared for at a networking event, whether it's online or whether it's in person, whether it's belly to belly, as we used to say? What should they be prepared for? What should they expect out of that? And because we all know people who come in and just into a networking event and it's all about me, right? But collaboration is not, right? Collaboration is about, let's go for win-win-win. Now, I'm a huge proponent of a triple win. It's got to be a win for me, a win for you, and a win for our clients. If it's not, I don't want any part of it. And and it also needs to be fun. So let's dive in. How can we help those folks that maybe don't know how to network, haven't had those opportunities, don't know where they should go, who they should be looking for, how they make the most of it?
I'll kick off because I teach this. I'll get on my soapbox for less than 60 seconds and give a little bit of a framework. And the old days of running around handing out your business cards still happens in digital. People just want to get on there, pitch what they do, and hope somebody's going to buy from them.
Right.
Okay. And when we go into a networking or any situation, I talk about the 4 Ps: purchase, pass on, promote, partner. Yep, there might be somebody there that might buy something from you. There might be somebody there that'll pass on, refer. Then the big one is partner and promote. How can I collaborate with somebody? Flipping that on the head, the best way to network is, who is your audience and how can I add the most value to them to make you look good in front of them?
Yes.
When you flip that on its head, you will be rolled out the red carpet instead of just saying, hey, how can you promote me in front of your people? No. Hey, Mark, how can I add great value to your people so they run back to you and thank you? Make the other look the hero. When you flip that on its head, everything changes. And I know, because I know these guys, this is what they do.
Yeah. I'd love to hear from you, gentlemen. Lou, you looked like you had something to add there.
I didn't know how we were going to work this. So
this is free form.
Awesome. So I share a lot of what Steve said there. I'm in the New York metropolitan area, so I could join 900 groups if I want to. And pre-COVID, was very different than what post-COVID is. I think I enjoy both the in-person and virtual. They have their benefits, but I guess the advice I would give to someone is don't jump into just any group. Know who your
Thank you.
Who is a good referral source for you. But I think the people who give the most are definitely ones that get the most. But lead by giving. Go there with the intention of finding out how you can help the other people in the room.
Right.
What I've noticed is that the people who are the greatest helpers are definitely the greatest receivers as well. People want to be around them because not that we're selfish, but people are all there to get business. And if they know that someone's there to give them business, they want to keep them around and they want to make them happy, and they don't want that to end.
Yeah, good points. Excellent. Mark, I see your wheels turning.
The wheels are turning. I think there's a real difference between collaboration and cooperation. Perhaps that's something
Agreed.
important, and it's easy to cooperate with people, but collaborate is quite a different thing. So in a lot of my work with organizations and companies is not just, Mark, can you come in and do this job for us? But it's actually that extra step, which Steve has actually taught me to go through, the extra steps of working with people to find out what their real problems are without just saying, hi, what are your real problems? But how to work through that process, because they go through a lot of pain and it costs them. It costs them time and energy, money and relationships. So to work with these people to develop a true collaboration rather than just cooperate is something that I've learned, but it's been a long journey. So that's something that for me, that difference between cooperate. It's easy for me, people like me just often come in, do a job, but to actually collaborate with them to find out what is really going on has been quite a different step. And so I don't necessarily do that through large networking groups, but I do it when I network, when I go to visit a company, or whether that be on Zoom or on a phone call. That's where I really get that collaboration, where I am there to offer something.
Exactly.
And that's it. That's my job. My job is to help them do a better job so they go home at the end of the day feeling good about themselves.
One of the things I always like to say is that when we're collaborating, 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2, it equals 11. We go well beyond 3 even. If we're really collaborating, 1 + 1, that's 11, right? 2 1s.
I'm with you. I'll go along with that.
Alex, how about you?
Yeah, it's interesting. Everyone's sort of made some really good points, and it's every time you think of something someone says, something else pops up. It's interesting when I love connecting with people probably more today than I did when I had my own business, because normally when it was my own business, and Steve touched on that point as well, as normally you go out there and how can I get my business growing, and everybody was talking about me, and like there's millions of me's out there. And it's interesting. It's like, you go back to the years when you used to sit down and go to bed and listen to a story. Everyone loves a story. So people want to know about you. People don't necessarily want to know your business up front. They want to know, am I going to want to talk to this guy? Do I want to shake his hand at the end of the conversation? And that's what Lou said. You've got to be able to, it's giver's game. So the ones that give the most are going to be the most successful. And 9 times out of 10, it's amazing what, previously, I had no idea what I was going to do in my networking group. I was a broker, one of the most hated words in my language, because there's so many brokers out there. But, when you actually go on that journey and people go, you understand what they do and they hear your story, it's amazing when, sometimes you can pivot into areas where you find common ground, you find common interest. And, talking to Steve, I found out that my passion wasn't broking, it was travel, but that was through my work. And then going to see people and traveling, and thought, I need to expand this. And why was I getting excited? I found more smiles on faces when I talked about travel than I talked about my own business. So, it was one of those things. But it's really important to understand, if anyone is looking to get into a networking group, first find out something that you can either sit in. You don't necessarily have to have something that, there right now. People love to meet people, and you can go in there and meet people and go, You know, what is it that I want to give to these people? You know, what is it that I want to do? Go and meet people face to face, shake their hands, or do a Zoom, and learn their story and find out what's really making you tick. That's so important.
And look for those opportunities to collaborate in that
They
conversation.
fall in your lap. You'd be surprised.
Yeah, isn't that the truth? Yeah. Thomas, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I can talk a little bit about my experience of it and what I found works for in a really super introvert such as myself. I had to learn that being an introvert is a very selfish way to look at things. And, you know, I was that kind of introvert that would go with a friend to go fishing and we would not talk at all the whole day fishing on the bank because I was concentrating on what I had to do. And, you know, that doesn't fit my brand. My brand is about being a servant. And so I had to learn to be more empathetic and more emotionally intelligent on that. And every one of these guys have hit on some of those emotional points that you have to kind of follow through with. I think my favorite one, though, is realize that my superpower may be an introvert. And if I apply it right, that God gave me 2 ears and 1 mouth to be careful with what I say and to make sure that what I say has meaning, but to listen really super well. Every one of these guys have said that very same thing, just in other words. And I would say that that's probably what gets me more conversations started. And I don't always say a lot, but people say I'm a great conversationalist.
Because you listen well. And everyone wants to be heard, right? Everyone wants to be heard.
It's interesting. I heard a story and that basically said exactly the same thing. Is somebody went into a conversation and they just asked more about that person. I'm keeping asking questions about Regina and getting Regina to tell me this and getting Regina to tell me this. And Regina goes home and said, I met this person. They were so interesting.
Yeah.
You didn't know anything about them, but they were so interesting because they were so interested.
Exactly.
And that's the big thing. That's exactly what Thomas says. And that's one of the things, I'll get on my soapbox again. One of the things that we coach in just in breakout rooms and things like that, always go last and always listen. Now, not everybody in that room is going to be yours. And most people will get in that room while they're waiting for other people to say their stuff. They're not listening, they're practicing. Right. They're practicing their pitch, their pitch, their pitch, their pitch. And if I get this out to everybody in there, then they're going to want to buy from me. Whereas if you listen, there might be 1 or 2 people in there that be your specific target market. Then you put your 60 seconds or whatever it is that specifically speaks to them in a way that would help them.
Right.
And you communicate and connect. The thing that's happening right now is that you've probably heard of this thing that's floating around. It's 2 letters, AI. You heard of it?
I have not heard of that one.
Yeah, you heard of that one. It is, and I'm fortunate to work at the highest level with people that are doing some stuff and what's floating down the pipeline. And I heard a guy yesterday. There's 3 different types of people that are going to survive that are out there now. There's the builders, the thinkers, and the carers. The builders, and they could be the tradies as well as computer science, tech, etc. 20% of those will be gone within the next couple of years. The thinkers, those of us who sell our knowledge, our skills, and our expertise, 60% of us will be gone in the next 2 to 3 years. And then there's the carers, the physical carers that actually look after people, the nurses, the police, and all of those people. There's roughly 10% of those because of some of their jobs. The thing that's going to continue to happen and going to excel is what we're doing right now. How do people get to learn about us human to human? There's not one bot in the room. There can't be a bot in the room. And the big thing that this expert was saying yesterday is at this point of time, we're still 10 years away from a bot feeling empathy, listening and caring. And that's one of the
Right.
biggest things that we can throw up, but that's one of the biggest things that we can have on our side. What platforms can we leverage, not to fight the bots? AI is here. I use it every day.
Yeah.
But
me
fight
too.
the lazy people. Fight the lazy people who rely on that to do all of their stuff. Okay, I can put in my website, I can put in my keywords, and I've got my next month of marketing spat out.
Right.
But it looks so much like the other guy.
Yeah.
So to us, it's going to be referrals, it's going to be networking, and it's going to be podcasting.
That's right.
How can people get to know us as a human? I think everybody's touched on that. And I think, well, that might be a really good next step in conversation is, well, what are you doing as a human in the AI world?
Right. Love that. One word that I heard at least twice in the last two people here, Steve and Thomas, was empathetic, having empathy. And I think that's so critically important as we're listening to people. And I think the other piece, and I think maybe it was Mark, I'm not sure. No, it was Alex. But you were talking about giving the most. See, I take notes while I'm listening. I'm a copious note taker. But you were talking about giving the most, and I think that the other piece that needs to go with that is with no expectation of receiving something in return. You know,
Yeah.
just truly giving. Mark, what are you going to add
Well,
there?
I was just agreeing rather than saying.
I saw that.
but you're right, and I had a debate, or I made a comment on a LinkedIn post a while ago where someone said it's so important to give because you'll get more back in return. I thought, this is not the reason why you
That's
give.
not the reason. Yes.
If you're giving
that,
because,
that's not the reason.
oh, you know, I'm going
Yeah.
to give because I know I'll get something back in return.
Yeah.
No, that's not what it's really about. That's great if you do,
Yeah.
but I think if you go in with that idea of I'm going to give and they'll think I'm wonderful and then I'll get a job, I think that's not the way to go.
Not the way to go. It lacks sincerity, for one thing, right?
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
while I do like acronyms and I like things that all start with the same C's and stuff, I think I used to be in the command area as an ex-teacher. I think it's very easy to slip into teaching. I will tell
Right.
you stuff.
Yeah.
So going
Isn't
from
it, though?
command to cooperate to collaborate was
Yeah.
a big shift for me.
That's a
Very
good
big shift.
journey. That's a good journey for sure. Yeah. And Thomas, I want to applaud your introversion because, you know, I mean, and one of the huge differences is between introverts and extroverts is the way we process. You know, I mean, a lot of people think of introversion as just, well, that person's just shy. They're just, you know, they're nothing to say, whatever. But it's, as introverts, we process everything internally and then we bring it out, right? Whereas the extrovert, it gets processed as it comes out of their mouth. It's, you know, they think it and speak it at the same time, and it changes en route.
Yeah,
but both have their value. Go ahead,
I agree. I will tell you that my wife is even more of an introvert than I am.
Is that right?
But when she says something, you better listen.
Yeah. She's thought it through.
And I mean, she may think on it for days before she says it.
Yeah.
So, you know, so whenever I see her, I was like, oh, what you fixing to say? Yeah.
Well, you're all
that's
probably
just a little
familiar.
praise report for my wife.
Yeah. There you go. And kudos.
I'm going to show her this so that I get points.
There you go. There you go. Yeah. You're all familiar, I'm sure, with the Myers-Briggs personality. Well, I'm 50-50 on the introvert extrovert scale. So I always say I love doing the dog and pony show. Like, I really enjoy doing this, but then I need my me time. You know, I need my downtime.
And for what it's
Mark,
worth, I actually always come up as an introvert on those scales, and which is like, how can that be?
but again, think of the
But
process.
I struggle.
Where do you process?
It's a struggle for me. I'm putting when you do collaborate with people, you've got to put on an effort. You've got to make an effort. It's not putting on a false nature or personality, but you've actually got to make an effort. You've got to come to where they are, because they see the world very different to you.
Yes.
You've got to accept that.
Exactly. Exactly. It's wonderful to learn more about people and how we handle things, how we deal with things. I love the personality aspects of things. Gentlemen, we don't have time for another question without running into our wrap up round, and we're right there at our 10-minute mark. So I'm going to turn the time over to Steve in just a moment. First, Lou, would you put your contact information in the private chat? If you'll go up to chat and then click on the private one and then click on my name and put your contact information that you would like to share, if you will do that, and we'll share
Sure.
that out as we go through this round. Steve is now going to call on each of you to share your final thoughts about collaboration and also share your contact information, if you will. And Steve, we want you to do your own as well. Okay. So you have to call on yourself as well. That's going to be tough, I know.
I forgot my number. Yeah, I'm going to rip around the room fairly quickly, and it's been a great chat and sharing some things and learning a little bit more about the boys. I'm going to start with Thomas because he's over there. He, just as a quick recap for those who may have tuned in late, is working with a lot of businesses who are tapping into the federal funds and being able to really help them communicate their message so they can actually grow their business with that. Thomas, what's one thing that you've seen most recently that people that you're working with should take advantage of, and how do you help them?
Absolutely. This is truly necessary. You have to look at the past before you can move to the future of it, because that data will tell you what happened in the past and who's buying and cares about what you have.
Like
Absolutely. And the typical type of business that you're working with right now, who would that be?
Usually companies that are right at the $4 million to $5 million mark. They've had some success, and we can it's much easier to get them move forward into that 10 to 20 million mark whenever they've got some past performance behind them.
Yeah. Something that we didn't touch on, I will, but I won't go back to you on it, is that your experience, knowledge, and the way that you work with businesses in that AI world and how they can actually help and grow their business. So if anybody's interested in, how do I systemize and how do I grow my business, particularly in that level, Thomas is the person to talk to. We're going to go on to Mark next about
Steve,
having.
could I pause you for just a second? We also want them to share their contact information audibly so that people get it, multiple ways. We want to. So
Cool. We've got your email and WhatsApp phone number. Thomas, can you just verbalize that?
So my email is tom.chappell at Breakthrough Strategies Group, and my WhatsApp number is 703-599-2905, and I'm also available on LinkedIn.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
Cool. Those who are agonizing over having that conversation, Mark, what is the one thing that is really a trigger? What was the one thing that triggered you to say, hey, listen, I've got to do it, but most importantly, the trigger for you to building your system?
Well, the trigger for me was really my own struggle, and I don't want other people to go through it. So people who come to see me are usually in trouble. I've had people cry, and I'm talking about men and women here, because of the struggles that they've had. I've really got to have this conversation with my brother-in-law, but it's going to be a disaster at this year's Christmas party when I tell him he's not invited. So, and people will say to me, oh, nothing works. Someone actually came to me and said, oh, nothing works. I said, well, what are you coming to see me for if you think nothing works? So I see people struggle. I see people struggle with the worry, the amount of time that costs, and I see them struggle with the words. And that's why I produce for people what I call personal conversation scripts. These are the words that have to come out your mouth. And at the end of it, zip it. Because people want to say all this extra stuff. So that's what I like. I love helping people. There's nothing better than people walking away going, Mark, I had the conversation. It didn't work first time. That's okay. I'm not silly here that you just magically have these conversations and everything's beautiful. But I did it the second time, and I did it better. And this is the results that I got. That to me, that's the great feeling that I get. I go, okay, I've done my job. And the best way of contacting me, I really think, is LinkedIn. I like it because my information is there. You can connect, you can follow if you want to follow or not, and you can send a message. That to me is great. And I'm Mark McPherson 1, number 1. If you don't put that 1 in, it's not coming to it. But I think my mug will be there on the page, so you'll be able to know it's the right one. But I'll just add that I'm more than happy for people to contact me, have a chat, and get something off their chest. That's what people often want to do, just get it off their chest.
So if you're on your 3rd or 4th wife and you want to get it right, give Mark a call.
I'm not so sure about that.
Yeah.
I might have a tough conversation with them.
And if you are in that situation and you want to travel and get away from things, then you better talk to Alex, because he's going to be able to show you how you can actually travel more often for lower fares and know that you're actually getting the best deal. Alex, you do work with people all around the world. Give a final wrap up, and most importantly, how do we contact you?
Yeah, I'll do the contact last, but yeah, look, obviously, for anyone that's interested, love to have a chat. I mean, if anybody loves travel, anybody loves to, put that smile on the face, not think about work and all that sort of stuff, by all means, definitely reach out and have a chat. We've got a great community, and everybody's there for a reason, and we want to make sure that we can share that among everybody. It doesn't matter where you are. LinkedIn, again, like Mark said, LinkedIn's my go-to contact. I can't put it in the chat now because it'll turn the camera off. But it's my name's not a common name, and also on Facebook you can reach me directly. We're in the process of setting up a couple of direct pages. But for anyone out there too, if you're not sure, if this is something that you want to look into, collaboration and connecting with people, by all means, get out there and find those networking groups. There are so many on there, and it's not about the group's name, it's about the people that you're meeting. So just go out there. Don't have to have anything in, for a reason or for work. If you're not sure, if you're employed by somebody and you just want to really, learn to connect, just go out there and introduce yourself and understand and learn what people have, because you never know. People have something that you just might tick with, and then that will set you on your journey. And of course, more importantly, it'll start making you probably want to travel more as well. So I'd love to talk to
you. And also, Lou, the businesses and the organizations, the sizes that you work with, I've seen the results, and some of them have been many hundreds of thousands of dollars per year that you've been able to save them and help build the culture of the organization as a giving culture more than just a taking culture because of the stuff that's going on. Give us an insight as to the size of the organizations that you start with, and then let's get your contact details, because just about every business could get value out of having a good look at what their healthcare and their health plan is costing them.
Sure. Yeah. Well, my deliberate prospecting is companies with 100 or more employees, because it's state by state. But in New York, we're handcuffed a little bit, but how we can help, just the way the pricing model is. We can't change things for small companies, although we can supplement health insurance and still save those small businesses a lot of money. I have clients with 2 people, because what they all have in common is it's people, and the businesses that tend to find me are people that are struggling with either a health issue or a cost issue. We've saved $1.2 million on a 200-person company. It's not that hard to do. It's convincing the employer that what they think they're getting isn't really what they're getting. It's kind of smoke and mirrors. So it's really, for me, it's not the savings that I'm chasing, and I don't care if I work with people or not, to be honest with you. I want to share information, because it's not just the companies I work with that are important to me. It's every employer in the country, because people are really suffering. And to me, it's despicable that the insurers and the health system aren't helping people find the best doctors. That's more important than the price to me. And that's something that should be a pretty simple mission statement for them. And we're trying to fulfill that mission statement of helping people find the very best care when they need it the most. And the savings is a consequence of just how we do that. So I'm writing a book because, for me, selfishly, unless there's awareness, people won't know to look for people like myself or other advisors that I really respect throughout the country. And I'm part of a bunch of different organizations where we collaborate, because we're able to share our wins and losses with one another, and really scale this. And it's growing very rapidly, and it's about to take off. So so to connect with me is easy on LinkedIn for sure. Louis C. Bernardi. My dad is Louis J. Bernardi. I'm kind of known as the benefits whisperer. So when you'll see my pretty face up there with my blue suit on, it's Louis C. Bernardi, and the benefits whisperer. So
thanks, buddy. Just a quick backtrack on that. I think you shared a statistic with me. I come in with a 7.4 or $74 trillion worth of wasted money through the healthcare system. And what difference would that make if that filtered down back into the pockets of the businesses and the employees?
Yeah, but what we're seeing on our plans that we build, we call them high performance health plans. It's about a 25% reduction in premium cost, while at the same time enhancing the benefits for the employees significantly, and even eliminating the out-of-pocket cost for the employees. So if you're paying $4 million a year, which is what our 200-person veterinary system in New Jersey was paying, we saved them $1.2 million the first year. They thought it was a fluke, and we assured them it wasn't. They did it again the next year. And the domino effect of that is, once they believed it was true and that what they were paying was the real cost for healthcare, they invested it back into their people and their business. And they've grown in leaps and bounds when most of their competition is struggling. And that's what they were asked to present about at the veterinary trade show. Everybody else wanted to know, the other 800 systems throughout the country wanted to know, how are you guys thriving when all of us are struggling? And it's not unique to veterinary hospitals. This can be any industry that wants to offer high quality healthcare and take back control and really make your health plan a competitive advantage, which is what it was always meant to be. That's why they were started in the first place.
Cool. I guess I need to bring it home.
And that leaves you.
Yeah, well, you've seen some of the people that I are friends with, I work with, those out there who have their knowledge, their skills, their expertise, and they really want to get their message out, whether it is communicating it, positioning it, packaging it, selling it, or leveraging the value of getting on podcasts to be able to create those collaborations as well as get your message out. That's one of the things that I do, and I do help organizations sell themselves better with a variety of different sales processes that I do have. Like most of the people here, I'm pretty straightforward. Connect with me on LinkedIn. You've seen my name on the screen.
There you go.
And steve@stevebrossman.com. That's nice and easy. That's how I can remember it. And you can just connect with me. I'm old fashioned. You send me an email, I'll actually reply. And yeah, keen to hear where you're at, what you're doing, and if there's a way that I could add value to you and or your people, let's have a chat. And Regina, congratulations on the work that you're doing.
Thank you.
Allowing platforms like this for a lot of great people. And I've really loved getting to know you and getting to become a friend with you over the last several months, just getting this and other things together. So keep up the fantastic work that you're doing. We all appreciate it.
Thank you so much. And what a great group here. Thank you, gentlemen. I have gained considerably from this time with you, and I hope our listeners have as well. And with that, we'll say goodbye this time from Collaboration Conversations. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.
Cheers.
Bye.